Pine Richland High School. I'm Ed Codi. This is Spotlight. Pine Richland's known for two things, basically. Number one, they're great academics, and two, they're highly successful athletic program. Over the last 15 years, they've won WPL and state championships in football and in baseball, WPL championships in basketball, lacrosse, field hockey. They also have an outstanding volleyball team this year. To give us a look at this athletic program, go inside and see what's going on, let's talk to athletic director in his first year, Sean Simmons. Sean, give us an overview. How many sports here are you in charge of?
Yeah, at Pine Richland, we have 24 sports, and we're all very successful. We take a lot of pride in our performance. I believe the good performances we've had starts in the classroom. Most of our student athletes have pride values. And one of our founding philosophies here at Pine Richland is, learning occurs inside and outside the classroom, and we try to install that in all our student athletes as they compete for Pine Richland.
Sean, let me ask you, this is just about your first year on a job. Correct me if I'm wrong, you started last year in the WPL championship game against Seneca Valley.
Yeah, you couldn't want a better start for an athletic director. My first day, my first assignment was at Heinz Field, and we won the WPL championships in football. So what a better start. You can't get a better start than that, and it's been a whirlwind tour ever since.
Well, let me ask you, that was your first day on a job. How did you get here to Pine Richland? How did you find out about the job, and what's your background in athletics?
It's a long journey. I know I'm very familiar with a bunch of families who live in Pine Richland. Pine Richland's success, both academically and athletically, speaks for itself. It's a very well-known school district. We do a lot of good things here, so I've always had my eye on it. I've always wanted to be a high school athletic director. I spent the last 14 years working as the associate athletic director at Robert Morris University. Prior to that, I spent 6 years as an assistant academic coordinator at the University of Virginia. So my background is in collegiate athletics, but I've always had an eye for high school athletic directors, and I wouldn't make that move from college unless it was a school with the reputation of Pine Richland. So when the job opened up, I applied, and Heinz Field, here we came. So.
Well, you were at Virginia for a number of years. Did they send you an NCAA championship ring for basketball?
I missed that one. When I was there, we weren't that good. We lost a couple games to Duke. But when I was there, we won girls lacrosse, men's soccer. I've had a few championship rings on my mantle, so it was a good time in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Let me ask you, your daily job here at Pine Richland, give us an idea of what goes on each day.
Yeah, well, my philosophy is to make sure our student athletes are put in the best position to succeed, both in and out the classroom. So I spend a lot of time making sure that when we come out of school, everything is set up for them to be successful, whether that be practice, games, transportation, whatever we do. We have a really good staff in our athletic department. We handle all the in and out logistics to make sure that our kids have a smooth transition from their activities in the classroom onto the field.
So your background in academia, you could pull the students aside and say, look, this is where you're going to have to be if you want to get into some of the top schools in the country.
That's correct. Yeah, that's one of the strengths of my background. Yeah, we have a lot of student athletes here who are aspiring to play at the highest level, and I feel with my experience I could act as a confidant in that department.
I know with athletic directors, you may start at 7 in the morning, but you're not done at 4 or 5 o'clock. I bet there are some nights you probably don't get home till 9 or 10 or even later.
Yeah, that's correct. And I still live in Moon Township, so it's a pretty interesting commute. But, once you love what you do, I love athletics. I love working with kids at this age. It's a labor of love, so I enjoy doing it.
And let me ask you finally, Sean, when you hire a coach, you're involved in hiring, what are you looking for in a coach?
One of the things we look for is to make sure he fits the values, the mission, vision, values of the school district. Whoever I hire as a coach, it's very, very important that their vision, their philosophy for athletics mirrors what the school district is about. So we must have that smooth alignment or else it doesn't work.
Well, Sean, great talking to you. I could see why you got hired here at Pine Richland, and I hope to see you over the years, and much continued success to you.
Thank you. Go Rams.
I'll be right back. Quite often, it's the big sports that get all the publicity. Here at Pine Richland, often they talk about the football program, the basketball, and the baseball program, but they're successful in some other sports too. For example, I have head coach Donna Stevenson and the field hockey team. They won a WPL championship back in 2017. They've been in the finals 3 other times. Donna, congratulations, by the way, on your 100th career win on October the 3rd.
Oh, thank you, Ed. That was a great accomplishment and really thrilling for me.
Let me ask you, a lot of us, myself included, don't know much about field hockey. You started this program here in 2004. You've had 2 stints as head coach, 04 to 09, and then back in 2014 until the present with your championship 2 years ago. Tell us exactly how did field hockey come about? You played it at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I think if you say that, you get into school, I think. Tell us about field hockey and your start in it and what the sport is all about.
So I grew up in upstate New York. I grew up in a little town on the border of Vermont. Field hockey was the only fall sport available for girls. So if you were interested in athletics, you played field hockey in the fall, basketball in the winter, and softball in the spring. And that's exactly what I did. So I just followed my bigger sisters along and played with them in the summers and started picking it up and got into high school, and I just fell in love with the sport and went to RPI Rensselaer in Troy, New York. It was the best school I could get into, and they had a field hockey team. So that's why I chose Rensselaer. But it's just been something that's been with me, and it never left me. And then I moved to Pittsburgh, and I just really felt still connected to the sport and just decided in the early 2000s when I was seeing a lot of girls weren't able to make all the teams here because you can only carry so many girls on team rosters. I just had in my mind to start a team at the high school, and eventually I did in 2004.
Well, let me ask you. I was here at your game on October the 3rd, a game that you won. That was your 100th victory. But I'm not certain about all the rules and regulations, so why don't you clue us in and tell us about some of those?
Sure. Basically, it surrounds 2 things: fairness of play and safety. So the officials are looking for those things. So if the stick is high or in close proximity, if the ball's lifted into someone, that's when you're going to hear the whistle and the ball will go to the other team. The other thing is fairness of play. You can't purposely obstruct a player like you can in basketball and create picks and screens to prevent a player from getting the ball. So it's more of, in a sense, equal opportunity to play the ball. You can, in a sense, guard the ball as long as the ball is still moving, but that does make it a little bit harder for people to understand. But the basics of the rules are really those 2 things, safety and fairness.
It seems to me in watching your game, your opponent that night was at Norwin. Correct. They didn't get the ball across the field much, so it seems to me you emphasize defense quite a bit.
Yeah, possession is the name of the game. So going into some of our big games at the end of the season, the more that we can possess the ball, the better chances are we're going to have coming out victorious and protecting our lead. So that's what we really try to do, is just put numbers on the ball. It's really just like soccer and lacrosse and even basketball, where you're trying to have a numbers up advantage over the other team. So playing in our offensive end the entire game really puts a lot of pressure on the other team, especially when we have penalty corners, because you can only have so many defenders behind the goal line. So the rest of the team has to jog back to the 50-yard line. So that just wears them out and creates fatigue in the other team. So strategically, that is something that we set out to do.
Well, defense seems to be your forte. I see a lot of your games end in shutouts. There doesn't seem to be a lot of scoring in field hockey, so it must be that everyone focuses on the defensive end of it.
Well, it's hard to score. It's a low-scoring game in general, so that's why you're going to see a lot of the scores really close. It's hard to score because you have a smaller net. It's not as big as a soccer net, and the goalie has a lot of equipment. It's hard to get the ball in. So that's what makes it a more exciting game. So the game is a low-scoring game typically, yes. We've had some games where we've had higher scores just because we were overmatching the other team.
Another successful year for you. You're 14-2, the big game coming up. You've secured another section title, but you still have your arch rival, North Allegheny, coming up.
Correct. Yes, we play them tonight. Big crosstown rivalry. We're always looking forward to that competitive level of play, and it's always really exciting game for our girls and for North Allegheny, too.
Now, I know in a lot of sports you have game films and strategy. Do you do the same thing? You have game films, you look at NA, how they play, and you develop a strategy for your team?
Yes, exactly. One of the things that our athletic office and our superintendents, with their vision for the district and athletics, is to use innovation. And technology is one of the ways that we do that. So we have game films, and we have a product that does game analysis where it breaks down our games. So we've been watching the game as coaches over the last week, as well as with the players, doing some screen prints, creating clips for the girls. And we have our strategy going into the game tonight about how we're going to play North Allegheny so we can come out on top.
Well, Donna, congratulations to you on another great year, your 100th win. Look forward to coming down next week. Playoffs will start, and to see your team play.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll be right back with baseball coach Kurt Wolf. You talk about successful programs. How about the baseball program here at Pine Richland? And Coach Kurt Wolf, he's been here for all 6 of their WPL championships as an assistant and head coach, and they have a state championship also thrown into the mix. Last year, WPL champs, once again, an outstanding season, 20-5. Kurt, I have to tell you that when I was at North Allegheny, we were over here for a game in the late 90s, and Greg Manisota's a great coach at North Allegheny. We were in a dugout before the game, and he said, guys, look across the way, pointed towards your dugout, and he said, there is a sleeping giant. And he didn't mean just for baseball. He meant for everything, and how prophetic he was in his comments.
Yeah, and I tell everybody that will listen, I've been very blessed to be able to have the opportunity not only to teach here, but to coach here and have an opportunity. The opportunities these young men have outside of even what we do is it prepares them for our season and our tough, I think it's Section 1 now. It's no longer, it used to be the Quad North, right? Section 1 rigor of playing these big, very tradition-heavy, high expectation schools.
So what was the advantage for you coming from an assistant here in the program and having won a couple of championships to moving into the head coaching position?
Well, I think anywhere you go, you have to learn how to win. It's tough to teach it. You have to be a part of it, and I think that has helped. I think the success of the other programs, which has been a lot, as you know, has really helped us, learn how to win. I think, now we're to the point we expect to win. We kid around all the time. If the New York Yankees came in, we expect to beat them. And that's the mentality we have right now, and that's why, we've been so successful in our program.
Kurt, been my experience, and it seems like you've done that here. You get 2 good starting pitchers in high school baseball with the time in between games. You're going to be tough to beat, and it seems like you guys have had great pitching down through the years.
We have. We haven't had a lot of pitchers play, Division I or even at the next level, but we've had pitchers that were gritty, grinders, kids that just compete, and that has made all the difference in the world. I mean, an average pitcher that will compete and will show a lot of grit is going to be above average pitcher, if not an ace, and allow you to win a lot of ball games, if not, as we've seen in the past, a championship with them.
Now, when I look at, you've won these 6 WPL championships at the highest classification, and on several occasions, you've beaten your arch rival, North Allegheny, for the championship. How gratifying has that been?
Well, it's funny. When I first got a job here, the first thing they told me, you have to beat NA. And I said, I don't even know who NA is. But we learned we got to know them pretty quick. They're very good. They have great coaches over there and a great AD that really, I feel, puts them in a great position to be successful also. But, we've been blessed to be able to see them a few times in the championship, and we've had the better half of it, and hopefully it stays that way.
What a rivalry it is. Last year, you played them 3 times, split with them during the regular season. You win a WPL championship, and then they derailed your hopes of winning a state championship in a tough loss for you guys.
Well, when you play them and just like a few other there's a lot of very good teams in the WPIAL and even 6A. You have to play your best game, and if you make mistakes, you're going to come out on the end that you don't want to be on. And unfortunately, we made some mistakes in that game and in the States, and they came out ahead of us. But you know, what I give these young men a lot of credit is they've got it done when the time counts. And when we've been in the championship games, whether it's been WPIAL or state, we've won a high percentage of times. And in fact, we've only lost one time. And so, you know, it means a lot when you can get it done when it counts.
Kurt, you've had a great program here. I don't know where you're putting all the hardware that you've won down through the years, but what a great baseball program you have here, and I'm sure you're looking for another great year coming up in 2020.
I appreciate that. We're very excited, and the biggest thing that we've done here is, you know, it's one thing you get into coaching and teaching because you care about kids, you know, but the real magic trick is getting the kids to care about each other, and not only getting them to care about each other, but getting them to care about each other more than themselves. And we've been able to do that here, and that's why they've been so successful, because they play for each other.
Thanks, Kurt. And we've talked to athletic director, coaches. We're going to come back and talk to some of the athletes. As we said with field hockey coach Donna Stevenson, it's one of the other successful programs here at Pine Richland, and one of the star players, Ava Loskotch, who had a hat trick not too long ago against Penn Trafford. And Ava, congratulations on another section championship. I know you have a big one coming up tonight against North Allegheny. You girls have to be fired up.
Yeah, we're really excited. It's a big game. Can't wait.
And not a lot of scoring in field hockey, so for you to get that hat trick, how rare is that?
Well, it's pretty rare. We have a hat trick club that our assistant coach, Coach Peary, does at the banquet, where she gives us like a little present. We usually wear a crown too, and it's just because it's so rare that you would get one in a field hockey game.
You have 9 goals this year, so I'm going to guess that you're the leading scorer for the team.
I'm actually not. I'm a defensive midfielder. I'm not sure who is, but there's definitely a forward who has more goals than me.
And defense seems to be the key in field hockey. When I saw your game here against Norwin, I believe it was, I wonder how you girls don't get sore backs the way you're bent over trying to move the ball.
It's all about the legs. Field hockey girls have really muscular legs, so you don't bend at your back, you bend at your knees.
So, okay, that's a technique that you have to learn. Tell us a little bit about how you got your start in field hockey and why you like it so much.
Well, I've played field hockey for 11 years now. Coach Donna Stevenson has been my coach since 2nd grade, and I started in her youth program whenever I moved here from St. Sebastian's. I used to live in the north side, and then I moved here to Pine Richland and immediately started field hockey with Donna.
And what's a typical practice like? You mentioned how you have to use your legs. How long does a practice go on, and how much strategy is involved in your play?
Well, we usually practice for about 2 hours. At the beginning of the season, it's a lot more practices, but lately we have more games than practice days, but they're usually 2 hours long. And we just do drills and conditioning, and then on Fridays we have lifts and more conditioning.
2017, I assume you were on a team. You won a WPL championship then. You were a sophomore.
Sophomore or freshman? Or my freshman year, we were runner-ups. Sophomore year, we were champions. And then we were runner-ups again last year.
So I'm going to guess you would like nothing better than to go out your senior year with another WPL championship. What's the field look like for you girls to win another one?
It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty confident that we'll get it again this year, especially because we're section champs and we've beat everybody that we would have a possibility of playing in the final. So.
And next year, your plans are to go where?
I'm committed to Allegheny College to play under Coach Valerie Lohr, and I'm very excited. I committed there in July, late July.
And you will major in what at Allegheny?
I'm going to go pre-med, so major in bio or psychology and a minor in bio or psychology.
Well, very impressive. And Ava, great having you on. Good luck to you and the girls in your match against North Allegheny and in pursuit of another WPL championship.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Joining me now, volleyball star, 2-time all-section player Grace Kristofic, and another great year for the Rams. They are 13-1, the only loss coming to powerful North Allegheny, but they're going to try and rectify that tomorrow night when they're at North Allegheny. Grace, congratulations, another great year for the girls volleyball here at Pine Richland.
Thank you. We're super excited.
So you're looking forward, you're going down to North Allegheny. You know how, I don't have to tell you, you played them on the 24th of September. You lost 3-1. It's even rare for them to lose a set. They've won, I think they're going for their third straight state championship, fourth or fifth WPL. So you girls really have to be fired up. Are you confident going down there to play?
Oh yeah, I'm super confident in our team. We've been playing well the last couple weeks, and we're super excited for tomorrow. So yes.
You're 5'11", you're a setter, but I ask you also how many kills do you normally get during the game? You're not always setting things up. You get opportunities for kills too, and I know how much you girls relish those kills.
Yes, I try to kill. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I want to be super aggressive and competitive, and that helps split blocks, especially when I'm active in the front row. So helps out a lot.
When you look at film, and you told me before you do study film of your opponent, do you see any weaknesses at all when you look at North Allegheny, or what opportunities you guys might have to find some weakness in their game?
I think that if we just come out and do our game and hit hard, be super aggressive and play outstanding, just like we always do, like normal, everyday kind of things, I think super good energy, high intensity serving and hitting will be fine tomorrow.
What makes North Allegheny so good, and what are some of the challenges you girls will have tomorrow night going against them?
They have two setters, and so sometimes they will switch back row and front row, so tracking where they are is sometimes difficult. So we really have made a point looking at film and some stats and things like that to make sure we know where they are so that we can play defense against them.
So if I had a scouting report on you, what would it say?
Oh, I don't know. I would say maybe that she's active in the front row. She likes to distribute the ball to all of her hitters. So that's what I would like it to say.
What's the best thing about playing volleyball here for you at Pine Richland?
Oh, for sure the teammates. I love my teammates. It's been such a fun time, and I really have enjoyed getting to know everyone. So, yes.
And Grace, I'd be remiss if I didn't say you come from a very athletic family. Your father, Dave, played at Knock and then at Pitt, and your brother, Andrew, is backup offensive tackle at the University of Notre Dame.
Yes, so I'm following in their footsteps. I'm going to George Mason, so super fun and exciting, and it's always a competitive household, so it's super fun. I love it.
Now, going to George Mason, I always like to ask what you're going to study when you go there.
I'm planning on studying business, so yes, something in that field. Not sure exactly what yet.
Well, Grace, a great year that you girls had. This won't be the last match. When you go against North Allegheny, you'll be in the playoffs. So good luck to you and your teammates.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am back with two-way defensive lineman Trent Miller, who's an offensive guard and a defensive end for the Pine Richland Rams. And Trent, you guys had a little blurb in the road there. You went to Central Catholic. You lost 29-7, and then you turned around the last 2 weeks. You beat Canamac 63-7 and Mount Lebanon 41-0. What is it that Coach Eric did to get you guys back on track?
He just said to look forward and to keep working hard. And we came out the week after with kind of a new chip on our shoulders, and I think we're carrying that, and we're going to continue to carry that hopefully into the offseason.
Your offense is so diversified. You have a lot of great offensive players. With your quarterback, Cole Spencer, had a big game last week with 308 yards passing. You have Luke Meckler and Eli Jokum. You have talent all over the place. Your offense seems pretty complicated. You guys up front have to do the job. I'm not sure you always get the recognition, but your offensive line play, at least the years I've followed you and done your games on TV, has been outstanding.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, all the articles that were being written were questions about the O-line, but I think we've definitely stepped up, and we, have been carrying our weight this year, and I hope we can continue to do that.
Who's the toughest, as an offensive guard, who's the toughest player you've ever gone against?
Probably against IMG last year. They're just across the board, they were all absolute monsters. So, yeah, that was probably just all four of them were bad.
So how do you feel about going both ways? You have to be in great shape. You go from being an offensive guard to a defensive end.
During practice, we go so fast that in a game, it's kind of, it's the same as practice. So it's not really that as taxing as you'd think it is.
The thing I want to ask you, we did a kickoff show here last year, and Coach Kasparovich, I talked to him. I said, Coach, I don't see much hitting on the field. And he said, we really don't do a lot. We don't do any hardly at all during the season. And yet you guys are very physical. So how do you make that transition?
We do wrap up. We are still, Coach is still hard on us about being sure that we are physical during practice. It's just we don't go to the ground. That's basically it.
And let me ask you, all the offense gets a lot of the plaudits and congratulations, but you guys are pretty good defensively. You did have the 29 points you gave up to Central, but you've only given up like 44 points total for the year, 5.5 points a game. You guys take a lot of pride in your defense.
Yeah, and especially Coach K does. He puts a lot more effort into the defense. He always is making sure every week that we have a perfect game plan for everything that the other team has for us. So, yeah, I think it's part of mentality that he's always stressed having a strong defense is just as important as a great offense.
Well, you have two big games coming up, a rematch of last year's championship game with Seneca Valley. They've struggled of late, but they're a big offensive line. You know you're going to go against some of the best offensive linemen around.
Yeah, we definitely do. But most of our front four and front seven actually have gone against similar competition. We've gone against these type of big fronts, so it's nothing too out of the ordinary. We did it last year twice, so I think we're definitely ready for it this year.
This is a big game because after that you finish the season at home, regular season against your arch rival, North Allegheny, with a chance to tie for the conference championship.
Yeah, we've been looking. We've kind of had that date circled all year, especially me being a senior. Last game, don't want to go out on a loss to NA, and we know that game is pretty pivotal to the year. That'll kind of define us, whether or not we're what we have been or if we aren't. And I think we're looking forward to it to show everybody what we are.
Well, you're right in the middle of your two biggest rivals, North Allegheny and Seneca Valley. It's for the bragging rights of Route 19. I imagine you run into those guys a lot during the course of the year.
Yeah, no, I'm not great friends with them, not at all. I'm looking forward to earning those bragging rights.
And finally, Trent, what are your plans for next year?
I'm planning on playing Division I football. I'm just waiting. I have one offer currently, but I'm waiting for more to come in, and then I'm going to make my decision. And, yeah.
Well, congratulations to you. Another successful year. Two games left, two tough games left. Congratulations to you, and good luck to you the rest of the year.
Thank you.
From Pine Richland High School, I'm Ed Codi. This has been Spotlight.